is a podcast about knitting. I am recording this podcast for the second time because the first one I finished, I edited it, and I was ready to upload it, and then I accidentally deleted it because I was clearing out space because there was not enough room for me to upload it basically, and then I deleted it. So that was annoying. I am here again trying to upload it, so I recorded that 2 days ago. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. I'm ready to talk about the whole thing once more because I really do want to share this with you. So I have one finished object, technically three finished, not three finished, I wish, 3 works in progress, and then a bit of yarn that I'm gonna show you and talk about. But anyway, my first finished object is this beautiful thing, which is the Fern Tee by Knitting for Olive, or Bryne in Danish. And I am so happy with this one. Really happy. And it comes down to 2 things. I think 1, I just like the pattern and I like the fit. 2, this is the first finished summer garment that I've knit that I want to wear. And if we're talking about number 2, which is that I want to wear it, it's 100% because of the yarn. Because I've knit other summer knits that I liked the fit of, but the yarn was not the right fit for me. So the yarns that I used were a mix of a woolen yarn and a plant-based yarn in the previous summer knits that I did. And they do not work for me in the summer. I don't like the feel of wool on my skin when it's warm. I find it very scratchy, itchy, and just uncomfortable to wear. I've knit a tee by Fiber Tales. I can't remember the exact name, but that was like a mix of bamboo and wool. I've knit a tee by Other Loops. Also, I think it's called the Wave Tee or Tide Loop Tee, something like that. It was part of the Archives collection from Især, as far as I remember, at least an Især collection. And then I have knitted a Ingrid top by Gregoria Fibers in a yak silk blend. So you saw that there were, and I think the Tide Loop was like also bamboo wool. So even though there's plant-based fibers and none of the yarns were 100% wool, it's just not working for me. So that's why I'm partly why I'm really excited about this, because it's just nice to have on the skin. And then I'm just really happy with the design and the fit of this one. Now in my last podcast that I deleted, I was wearing this. I'm not gonna do that today, but if I remember, I'll put in a video of me wearing it. But I'm gonna talk a bit about my version, because this is not 100% the same version as the pattern. My version has a wider neckline. It has a deeper yoke, because in the pattern it's kind of, I don't like stuff that's too close to my armpit, and from the looks of the original pattern, it's quite close to the armpit. And also the sleeves on the original pattern are more narrow and tighter, and I don't like that either, especially not if it's warm. So I also made the sleeves a bit wider. I also cropped mine a bit, mainly because it's more oversized than the pattern, and I think if I had made this to be the same length as the pattern, it would be basically that would just be too much of it. I think when it's very oversized, it's quite flattering, at least for me, to have it cropped, so it's not like a huge tent of a t-shirt basically. So that's why I did that. The pattern is very simple. You do a provisional cast on, you knit the I-cord, and then you pick up live stitches from the provisional cast on, and you work down the body, and it's a round yoke, as you can see. And even though it's a very, very simple pattern, I kept messing up with counting the stockinette stitch rows between the eyelet rows here. I don't know why. It isn't hard. I just don't, at no point in this pattern did I get into like, it was never natural to me just how many rows there was supposed to be. I don't know why. So I just kept I kept recounting, which was, you know, fine, it worked out. But there are some places where I didn't recount, and there are more rows. I think here, for example, there are 5 rows of stockinette stitch between, or rounds, basically, I guess rounds of stockinette stitch between the eyelet rows, but most places there are 4 rounds. Most of the places I have 4 rows between the rounds, and then some places, like I said, I have 5 rows because I messed up in my counting. Doesn't matter, you can't really tell. In the pattern, you're actually supposed to only have 3 rows of stockinette stitch, so mine may look a little different. My gauge, I have not checked my gauge for this one, and so I'm pretty sure that I'm off a bit because of the fabric. It's a little more see-through than what it looks like in the pattern, and I also think that's why my neckline is a little bit bigger. Suits me fine. I like it the way it is. So yeah, I'm really happy about this one. The yarn is a mix of a linen and viscose, I think, or maybe linen bamboo, something like that. I know there's linen in here, and it could be bamboo, it could be viscose, something like that. It's not cotton, but it is a plant-based fiber. The edging is also finished with an I-cord, as you can see here and here, and it's just so lovely. I'm really happy about this and excited about wearing it in the summer, instead of just like, sometimes I find it hard to, not hard, but I often just wear a top in the summer, and it's just nice to have something that's just a little more elegant or different than just wearing a top. So that's good. I am also working on another summer top, which also is only knitted in a plant-based fiber. This is the Lacy Loop Cardigan by Other Loops, and I am knitting this with Drop Spell, a yarn that I got from my mom a long time ago, and it's the first time I'm knitting with it. I actually enjoy knitting with it. It's quite lovely to knit with. I mean, considering that it's a plant-based fiber, I definitely prefer knitting with a woolen fiber, but I do like knitting with this. What is there to say about this? Yeah, I finished the body, and I have actually also just finished one sleeve. The sleeve, as you can see, is smaller, or maybe, I don't know, if you know the pattern you can see it, but the sleeve is supposed to be, I think, double this length, but since the pattern is quite oversized and boxy, I thought it would be nice to just make them a little bit shorter. I also wasn't sure that I would have enough yarn, but I actually found 2 extra skeins, so I could make them longer if I wanted to, but I just kind of went with my original thought of making them just a little bit shorter. What else? Yeah, I reknit the body twice. No, that's dramatic. No, not the whole body. I reknit the bottom part of the body twice, because as I reach this part here, when I was knitting it the first time, I wasn't sure if it would be long enough, and so I decided to try and do another repeat, because the thing is, I couldn't just do half of this pattern repeat. That would look weird. So I decided to just do another repeat, which is still, what is that, 5-6 centimeters or something, and then do the ribbing, which I did. But it just turned out, long story short, it was too long. I did not like it. It was, because it's quite a boxy pattern, I don't want it to be too long because I don't like that look on me. So I want it to be not super cropped, but just a little bit cropped, so I ended up ribbing back, and then I just did the ribbing and the bottom part, and I really like that. I think it's so lovely. I think this is gonna be a really nice little, I'm gonna use it as a t-shirt. I don't think I'm gonna wear it open, so it's gonna be a nice t-shirt when it's done. I finished the neckline, and in the pattern you're supposed to do a tubular bind off. I didn't do that for two reasons. One, I don't necessarily think, unless you're really skilled at doing a tubular bind off, which I'm not, I was afraid that because of the fiber, which is a plant-based fiber, so it doesn't have a lot of fluff in it. So if I did make mistakes, or if it was uneven, it would be really hard to sort of hide, because it wouldn't really go away with blocking, where I find that woolen yarns often they will bloom, and some mistakes kind of just hides in like the wooliness of the fiber. That was the one reason. And the other one is just a thought that I have, which may or may not be true, but I think, I mean, tubular bind offs are more stretchy, which can be good sometimes, but I was just wondering if that would be a bad thing for this garment, because it's quite a heavy garment, it's a heavy yarn, and I was afraid that just with me wearing it and kind of the yarn pulling on the neckline and just kind of hanging on the body, that would be too much of a, like that it would just pull it out of shape. So I think it's better to do like a regular bind off, because it's less stretchy. I don't know if that is true or correct, but that was just a thought that I had. And I really actually like the kind of more straight bind off on this neckline. Then I knit button bands, which I would say the pattern is very easy until the button bands for me. I found the button bands to be really hard, not to knit, but I didn't really understand the instructions very well. I kept redoing like you pick up along all the way along the body here, and then you're supposed to cast on at the bottom, and then you knit up in a ribbing. And I did understand that, but I just could not it didn't make sense for me. So basically I kind of made it up as I went, and it worked. It looks kind of like the button band in the pattern. The buttonholes are just yarn overs. I did not do as per the pattern because I didn't understand. And then I was supposed to do the left one, and I did not understand that at all, because it basically said the same thing for the left one, but obviously they are mirrored, so it, and because you're supposed to do it from the bottom as well, and then it said the same thing, but you know, since they're mirrored, anyway, I figured it out and they look great. Everything's good, but yeah, if you are not an experienced knitter, I don't know if I would recommend it, just because it does, or maybe you, I don't know. It's always hard with recommending, like talking about knitting patterns and them being hard, because we all understand things in different ways. So I don't even know if I would say you shouldn't knit it. I just want to say that I found it difficult, but I figured it out, and you could probably also figure it out, or you can contact somebody who could help you. So I think that's what I'm going to say about that. Anyway, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So everything's good. I need to do the second sleeve, find some buttons, and I'm done with this one. Perfect time for summer. So that is also really good. Jakob's sweater. I did talk about this in my last podcast, so I don't want to get too much into it because I've not worked on it, but my last podcast was a Patreon only podcast, so if you're not on Patreon, I just wanted to show you the progress on this one. So you can see it is growing, mostly thanks to my mom, who took this from me. Well, she didn't. I asked her if she would knit on it. I knitted the yoke, and then she's knitted the body and most of this sleeve, and I am going to knit the rest at some point. I'm not really too keen on working on it right now because it's warm, and yeah, he's not gonna really be wearing it until fall. But on the other hand, maybe it would be nice for when we go on vacation. We are going to Sweden, so it could be nice in the evenings if it gets cold to have this for him to wear. Yeah, so not really much to say about this because, yeah, like I said, I already talked about it, but wanted to show it off anyway. And then next time, hopefully, I am done with this thing. It is knitted with WOOLapyk in a very dark charcoal color, and I do have 5 plates left, so I have plenty to finish it for him, and I think I'll have some left, and I really would like to knit something for me in this because the yarn is like the fabric is very lovely. I always imagine WOOLapyk to be very, very stretchy, and it's not. I mean, it is prickly, but really not bad at all. I think if you're sensitive to wool, you would definitely find this scratchy. But on a cold winter day, I think this would be the loveliest thing to wear. It's very light, just light and warm and lovely. So yeah, this one is going slowly but surely. And what else? Oh yeah, then I have just a quick thing to show you. This is my grab when I don't have anything else, or I don't want to bring something along, but I don't want it to be too big kind of knit, which is the Fiber Folk shawl, a pattern that I knit or made 5 years ago, something like that. And I'm not really following the pattern that much. I did follow the pattern until around here, which you can see there's a nice straight edge. Then I kind of decided that I didn't want it to be too deep. I wanted it to be longer and narrower. And then I just decided I would do occasional increases, which you can see how uneven that makes the shawl. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything about it. When I wear it, you would not be able to tell. And I'm not, I'm fine with my knits do not have to be perfect. I mean, I definitely like them to be nice and perfect, but things like this where I know nobody will really notice, I would be fine to wear this looking like this around my neck. So yeah, that is just like a little side project, which is nice to have just laying around whenever, yeah, I don't have anything else to work on. I'm knitting it with a baby alpaca that my sister brought home from Peru many, many years ago. So it's such a lovely, soft yarn, and I think the scarf slash shawl would be just a nice, lovely, warm and cozy thing to have. I'm aiming sort of between a bigger shawl and like a Sophie scarf. I don't want it to be in between that. I don't want it to be small, but I also don't want it to be too big. So like a medium-sized shawl is, I guess, is what I'm trying to achieve with this one. Okay, that's it for things that I'm working on currently. I did go down to the basement to look for summer yarns, and it turned out I did not have a ton of summer yarns. I did have, and I did not, and the yarns that I had, I didn't really have enough for full garments, at least not for me. Or if I did, I had 2 quantities of yarn that I could knit into a top. Jakob is singing. I don't know if you can hear him. But anyway, so that could be a top for me. But I just did not like the color. They were like minty green colors, and for some reason I used to love that. I don't love that anymore, apparently. Well, I ended up I went to Copenhagen one day and I bought some yarn for a summer top in this yarn, which is a very unusual color for me. It's a burgundy color, and I don't have any garments in this color. But it was just, I kept going back to it, so that was what I ended up buying. It's line, Sandnesgarn line. I've never knit with this, but I know a lot of people are using this for summer knits because it's a plant-based fiber. So it is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. and it has a gauge of 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. My plan for this one is to knit a Maggie top by Petite Knit, or a Maggie vest. But I'm gonna use it as a top, which is why I called it a top. It's a basic top, but it has buttons down the front, and I think it would just be kind of beautiful, maybe even a little elegant in this color. So I'm hoping that it turns out the way that I imagine in my head. The yarn is like I said, 20 stitch gauge, and the top is calling for, the gauge for the top is 23 stitches per 10 centimeters. So I'm gonna try some swatching, and if I do find that it gets too tight to reach that gauge, I am just gonna go down a size in the top. So I think I like a large in the Petite Knit pattern selection, but I would just knit a medium, and then I would hopefully achieve a size that's close to the large. So that is my plan for this one. I went to Berlin with my mom and my aunt, and I went to Wool Berlin, and I got this yarn. This is Mota from WOOLapyk, which is a Spanish yarn company. I'm pretty sure it's Spanish. It is 100% local wool in the color 1015G. You can see it here. And again, this is also not a color that is typical for me to get. I don't know what is happening, I guess. See, and I also it even matches with my shirt, which is also newer, this one. So I don't know, apparently this is kind of the color thing that I like right now. For this one, I also kept going back to this color. I was looking at the neutrals, there were some greens, but this one just spoke to me, same way as this one. So I just went with it. My original plans for this yarn was to knit a lace jacket by Osetta. I then went into the store, and they had like Wool Berlin, they had a sample of a lace pullover, and I then decided that that was what I was going to make. And then I've kind of been through other things that I wanted to knit, and now I am at I've decided that I'm going to knit the henna v-neck by Petite Knit instead, and maybe it'll change again. I don't know. For some reason I keep going back and forth, but that's my plans right now. I did get a lot of Petite Knit patterns at her sale. She just had a sale, and I did get, I think, eight patterns or something like that from her. So, and I got that henna v-neck, and I just think it would be beautiful in this color. So I have not knitted a lot of Petite Knit patterns, at least not compared to the average knitter. I think I am way below average in knitting patterns from her. So, but that's changing now, apparently, because I have 8 of her patterns in my pattern library. So I'm definitely planning on the henna v-neck and the Maggie top in the near future, and then we'll see the other ones. Also the cross sweater junior, because I got that for Anton. I saw a really beautiful version that Mel from Big Little Yarn Co. knit for her son. I really loved her version. Up until then, I wasn't really super into the pattern, but I just saw that her pattern, and I just really loved it. So that's kind of why I decided to get it, and also because I find that it's a nice, I wouldn't say scrappy project, because you do need a certain quantity of yarn, like 10 grams of yarn. That's not enough, but if you have, like, depending on the size you're knitting, of course, for a kid, but if you do have half a skein, or even if you have like knitted a project and you have 1 skein left of that project, that would be perfect for this pattern. So I'm gonna knit one for Anton, and I did find yarn when I was downstairs looking for the plant-based yarn. I also just went looking for yarn for him. So I have decided I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna hopefully have a picture of the pattern so you can see it while I talk about it. So the neckband is striped, or like with the 2 different colors of yarn, and for the neckband, and also for all the ribbing, basically I am going to use these 2, which are both knitting for Olive. This is their cotton merino, and this is their pure silk. Anton has started to complain about Anton is my son. He has started to complain about his sweaters being prickly, sadly. I mean, he lasted a lot longer than my daughter. He's 5 now, and it's only now that he started to mention it, and I think my daughter was 2 or something like that. So, you know, so far so good. He's all right in that sense. So I want to, like, the top of the sweater, so the neckline, but also the top part that you see to be like, that you see hopefully in the picture, to be in a non-prickly wool or plant fiber. So this is, you know, wool, cotton, silk. I hope that's gonna be okay. Then I'm gonna use this yarn, which is my own hand-dyed silk merino, which is very soft, as that top part of the yoke, I guess. Then for the, like, that color work section for the crosses, I'm gonna use this red. And then for the body and the sleeves, I'm gonna use, this is Jakob. I think one of their, they're not dyeing anymore, but one of their Christmas calendar skeins. And then, like I said, for the body, I am gonna use Rauma garn, which I've never knitted with anything with Rauma before. So this is gonna be interesting to knit with this one, which is a 50% alpaca, 50% wool. I think this is gonna be quite a nice, fun sweater for him. So that is my plan with this yarn, and just my sweater plans for Anton. I hope to have this finished for the fall. Also be nice to have it now, but you know, lots of things that I want to knit. So fall is sort of what I'm aiming for with this one. I think we are all the way through now. I can also hear that they are setting the table up because we have dinner now. So I'm gonna go eat dinner and want to say thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next month. Bye.